There is a specific kind of loneliness that nobody warns you about. Not the loneliness of being alone, not the loneliness of being ignored. This one is worse. You have people who love you. You can name them. And still, at the end of the day, in a room full of people who care about you, something inside you is unreachable, like there is glass between you and everyone else. You can see them. They can see something that looks like you, but something isn't making contact. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why that glass is there, where it came from, and why it has nothing to do with how much people love you. This usually starts early, in a home where love was real but inconsistent, or present but conditional, or there, but the emotional attunement wasn't. A child does not need a parent to be absent to learn that their inner world is unsafe to share. They just need a few moments, a parent who laughed when they cried, a room that went cold when they said the wrong thing, a face that went blank when they needed to be seen. The brain of a child is not philosophical about this. It learns a rule. Your feelings are a problem. Keep them contained. Psychologist Dan Siegel has spent decades studying how attunement, or the lack of it, shapes the developing brain's capacity for connection. When a caregiver consistently misses a child's emotional cues, the child's nervous system adapts. It stops broadcasting. You are not broken. You are calibrated. Your brain did exactly what it was designed to do. The cost of that calibration is what you're feeling now. The first sign is that you perform being okay. Not fake it, perform it. There's a difference. Faking implies you're conscious of the effort. This is automatic. Someone asks how you are, and the answer arrives before you've even checked in with yourself. Fine. Good. Busy, you know how it is. You have a version of yourself that is comfortable, pleasant, easy to be around, and you offer that version without deciding to. What Dan Siegel calls the narrated self, the story you tell the world about who you are, gets so practiced that the real self has no script. At a dinner table surrounded by people who love you, you watch yourself talk, laugh, respond, and somewhere underneath that, something is sitting very still and very quiet, waiting for the performance to end. The loneliness isn't because they don't love you. It's because they love the version you've learned to show. The second sign is that deep conversations exhaust rather than connect you. You might even be the person who initiates them, who asks the good questions, who holds space for other people's vulnerability. But when the conversation turns to you, when someone asks you something real, something tightens. You find a way to redirect, or you answer, but you keep something back. Always something back. Pete Walker, who wrote extensively on complex trauma, describes this as the fawn response made invisible. You learned to move toward people, to give to people, to make people feel held, because that kept you safe. Receiving felt dangerous. Needing felt dangerous. And so genuine intimacy, the kind that requires you to actually land somewhere in someone else, stays perpetually out of reach. They want to know you. You don't know how to let them. That's not coldness. That's a nervous system still running very old instructions. The third sign is that you feel most yourself when you are alone. Not because you're an introvert, because solitude is the only place where you don't have to manage the gap. In public, some part of your energy goes to monitoring. Are they comfortable? Did that land wrong? Am I too much or not enough? Alone, that monitoring turns off. You can breathe. You stop performing. And for a moment, something real surfaces. Some version of you that is softer and stranger and more alive than the one that goes to dinner parties. The tragedy is that the version of you that actually exists only shows up when no one is there to see it. And that is the heart of this specific loneliness. Not that love is absent, but that the self that needs the love is hidden. Stop for a second. Everything you've just heard, the performing, the redirecting, the relief of being alone, none of that is a personality flaw. None of it is proof that you are fundamentally difficult to love. It is proof that you adapted. Your nervous system found a way to survive an environment that couldn't fully hold you. And it worked. You are here. You built a life. You have people. The pain is not that you failed. The pain is that the adaptation that kept you safe is now the thing keeping you from what you actually want. The fourth sign is that you dissociate during moments that should feel intimate. Not dramatically, not in a clinical way, just you'll be in a hug and feel nothing. Or someone will tell you they love you and there's a half-second delay before anything registers, like a signal traveling too far. Or you'll be in a moment that should matter. A birthday, a reunion, a quiet night with someone who loves you. And you'll feel yourself observing it rather than inside it. The insular cortex, the part of your brain responsible for interoception, for feeling your own internal state, can become dysregulated after years of emotional suppression. You lose access to the felt sense of being in your body, in your feelings, in a moment. You can be present externally and completely absent internally at the same time. And that absence is what you feel as loneliness, even when the room is full of love. The fifth sign is that you grieve for a closeness you have never actually had. This one is the hardest to explain. You feel nostalgic for something you cannot name. A sense of longing not for a specific person or a specific time, but for a version of connection that has always felt slightly out of reach. John Bowlby's foundational work on attachment showed that when the secure base experience is inconsistent in childhood, when attunement comes and goes without pattern, the nervous system keeps scanning for it long after childhood ends. Not in the past, in the future, in the next conversation, in the next relationship. You are not chasing something you lost. You are searching for something you never quite got to have. And that search is what makes the loneliness so disorienting. It coexists with real love, real connection, real care. None of which is the thing your system is still looking for. When you put all of this together, something becomes clear. You feel lonely even when people love you because you learned early that the self-worth loving had to stay hidden. Because your nervous system adapted to protect an inner world that once felt too vulnerable to share. Because the connection you actually crave requires a kind of open-channel intimacy your history made feel impossible. This is not a story about other people failing you. It is a story about a brain doing its best with incomplete information. Old information. Information that hasn't been updated yet. You are not too closed off to love. You are not fundamentally unknowable. You are not someone who will always feel this way. You are someone who learned to survive by going quiet. And quiet people are not empty. They are full, overfull sometimes, of things they never learned to say out loud. You are allowed to stop performing being okay. You are allowed to let the version of you that only shows up alone start taking up space in other rooms. You are allowed to receive without earning it, to need without apologizing, to be known without managing what gets known. Drop a comment and tell me which one of these 5 signs felt the most personal, not the most interesting, not the one that describes someone you know, the one that felt like it was describing a room inside you that you've never shown anyone. You don't have to be alone to feel alone, but you also don't have to keep feeling this way forever. That's the thing about calibration. What was learned can be relearned. What was built for one world can be rebuilt for this one.